one of the labor has done one murder.
Damn. Is green energy going to destroy petroleum industry or not?
Who is suffering? Ukraine is suffering. Europeans are suffering. America is also suffering in terms of.
So hello everyone and welcome to this first podcast of Crude Talks. I am your host Shashant Choubey, and in this episode we are going to dig deep in oil and gas industry. And today we have invited a very special guest, Dr. Ashish Nagar sir, who has more than 35 years of experience in oil and gas industry. He has worked in many different fields like exploration, drilling and production. He has a vast experience of both onshore and offshore fields. His main area of interest are flow assurance and transportation of crude oil. He has done his postdoc from Kyoto University, Japan. Currently, he is guiding research scholars and has wrote 80 plus technical papers. He has been instrumental in opening SP India Council and worked for more than 30 years in different posts like Treasurer and Secretary Director, and has won many SP awards. So let's continue with the video. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to this podcast. So let's start with the conversation. So please walk us through your petroleum field journey.
Shashank, thank you very much. Well, I started my journey as a PhD holder from Delhi University. I did my PhD in the field of organic chemistry and joined this industry. My first experience of the petroleum industry was in West Bengal in the field of drilling. At that time, we drilled around 3 wells, namely Hemraj, Rathod and Vishnupur. Vishnupur was just adjacent to the Bangladesh border. But unfortunately, we could not find the hydrocarbons. After that, I feel really lucky that I got the chance to work in one of the premier institute of the Asia, that is Keshav Dev Malviya Institute of Petroleum Exploration at Dehradun, which is famous as KDMIPE.
What was your role there?
At the time, Bombay had just started its production. So I was asked to find a chemical additive which will help in the transportation of Bombay High crude. So we were basically working on flow improvers. Then we did one project on Rawa field also. When I joined ONGC in 1980, just after 1 month, I got the scholarship from the UK government for my postdoc work. But I could not go there because I could not get the leave from my office. But when I was working at Dehradun, again I got the chance and I went to Japan, and I feel lucky that I got the chance to work in the area of petroleum biotechnology. The university is known as one of the finest universities of the world because after every 3 or 4 years, people are getting Nobel Prize. So I feel lucky that I got the chance. After my return to India, as I work in the area of petroleum biotechnology, I was posted at Azhaan to supervise the Institute of Biotechnology and Geotectonics, that is INBIX, which was taking shape, and I was asked to go there and establish that institute. I went there, I worked for it some time. Then I also got the chance to work in some of the new fields, that is Koraghat and one very old field of Borola, which are famous fields of Assam. At the time, the atmosphere was not very conducive in Assam. We were facing different kind of problems. But because of my aptitude for research, I was transferred to Baroda. I feel that it was really a turning point for my career as I got the chance to work in different labs, right from drilling fluid, core lab, and finally in oil lab. In the oil lab, we developed few technologies which we were able to implement in the field. One of the finest work I feel, still feel, in which we generated the revenue of more than 60 to 70 crores from single well. That was in Limbodra. We developed a chemical solution and field implemented in different parts of Gujarat like Ankleshwar, Ahmedabad, Choubey, Mehsana, and for that luckily we got the CMD award also. During that award, I was asked to take this technology to different parts of the country. And my first assignment was at Karaikal. We went to Karaikal and we field implemented this technology. The next was Assam. While we were doing this work, I was transferred again to Mumbai. When I joined at Mumbai, because of my experience, I was asked to work for Mumbai High Field, where we were facing a lot of problems in the ICP area. In ICP area, there were 9 unmanned platforms like Whiskey Alpha, Whiskey Bravo, Zulu Alpha, Zulu Bravo, India Sierra, India Quebec, India Tango. The oil from these unmanned platforms is paraffinic in nature. And we were asked to find a suitable solution so that we can transport this out. The technology developed at RGL Baroda was again field implemented and we got very good results. From last 20-25 years, what I learned, I was able to implement that in the Mumbai High field. The different kind of jobs like stimulation jobs, use of pigging, sterilization of the pipelines, the problems associated with the scales, and the most important at that time, the H2S was tremendously increasing those days. It started with around 20 ppm and by the time in 5-10 years it reached up to 200 ppm, which is a very lethal level. So we worked on that. We tried to control different kind of problems. So it was a very, very satisfying journey, I'll say. There, I also got a chance to work for SPE. So 10-12 years, I spent a lot of time for the SPE activities, right from treasurer to section director. I worked at different posts and learned. And for that, again, I was suitably rewarded and got the reward at USA.
So, sir, it's a very long journey, first of all. You had such a vast experience. So, as you said, you started your journey with drilling. So, can you specify on that? Can you tell us more about drilling? That how was your experience in that field?
My dear, at the time we were using, there was no electric rig. Very, very tough time. Reason being, we were using very old rigs. There was no 14 days duty. Food was a scarcity. The condition was not what you find today. It was a very tough time. And we were working, say, 150 kilometers away from Calcutta. Even to get a cup of tea was a very difficult option because it was really a forest and very remote village. Nothing was available. I would like to
So, sir,
discuss one incident which happened that one night when I was working. So along with me there were eight laborers which were helping me in making the mud. Mud, as you know, is a drilling fluid. Suddenly, we stopped the drilling around 2 o'clock in the night. I came to my laboratory. I was taking some parameters. At 5 o'clock in the morning, a policeman comes and he sends one message to me. So my drilling supervisor, he asked me, Dr. Nagar, there is a police has come and they want to talk to you. I was surprised and shocked. What has happened? Well, the policeman said, sir, one of the labor has done one murder
damn.
and he was working with you. You have to tell us. I told him that all eight people, they were working with me and I have absolutely no idea about it. But I'd like to tell you about my boss. When he came to know, he told me only one thing. Dr. Nagar, don't worry, I am here to face the music. This was the people.
It is very good very good of him that he helped you. So, sir, you told, and whoever character was in your story, they were all men. Okay. So, I would like to ask you, what is the role of women in this industry, and how important women in this industry, and should women pursue petroleum engineering, or should women be a part of this, and what is the best industry to work for a woman?
I think it's not a very good idea for us to discuss this thing because the girls are working right from A to Z industry in this country. So petroleum industry is no exception. Right from HR, finance, geology, chemistry, geophysics, in every discipline of petroleum industry, they are working. As a petroleum engineer, you will find a lot of girls working in this industry. From 2008 onwards, they are working in offshore. We have developed the infrastructure so that they can stay there comfortably and can attend the 14 days duty. So it is a regular feature for them. So there is absolutely no difference about the boys and girls. They are working together in not only in onshore, in offshore Mumbai High also. So for them, I feel this is a very safe industry and they are required and they should pursue their career in the field of petroleum industry.
So many girls are really scared to pursue this, and those who have pursued, they are very brave or consider very brave. But as you have said, this is very safe. So I guess all the women who are watching this can know that petroleum industry is safe and they should pursue it if they want to. So, sir, coming to my next question. So, is green energy going to destroy petroleum industry or not? Because as you know, government is pushing green energy very much, and they're pushing in EVs and different things. So will green energy have any effect on petroleum industry? Will it destroy petroleum energy? Will we have our jobs in the future or not? So please, clarify on that, because
As I said, 25 years back when I was working for this industry, they used to say the petroleum industry is not going to survive for coming 5-10 years. 25 years have passed, and I assure you, 50 more years will pass and nothing will happen to this industry. Can you survive without plastic?
no.
Can you
That's
survive
exactly
without
that.
clothes? Can you survive without bottles, plastic bottles?
No.
You are talking about energy only. From this industry, you are getting A to Z material of our requirement. Yes. Can we run the helicopters or the aircrafts by using? No, we can't. We require ATF. We require crude oil. As far as the green energy is concerned, we are already using green energy in terms of gas. Yes, crude oil, those countries which are having crude oil, and there are 50% of in the world which don't have. So for a country like India, we require, that is the reason government is emphasizing and developing lot of new refineries. So how this industry will not survive? We are exporting lot of ATF, petrol, diesel. Just think about the Europe, how much solar energy they have.
They don't. It is very cold in there. Even in this war situation, when
Yes.
Russia cannot supply gas, Europe was in huge danger, and they still suffers because they don't get gas. There's cold shortages there, and many more things. They're suffering right now because of this war, Russia and Ukraine war. And but it is still, many people say it is a declining market, because it has reached its peak. The crude price just shot up to above $100, but still people say that it is a declining industry. So if I'm a 12th graduate, means I just passed my 12th, so should I consider petroleum engineering as a nice option, or should I pursue petroleum engineering?
I feel it is not the nice option, it is one of the best options. And there is a reason. This is just a stepping stone. BTech in petroleum engineering is just a stepping stone. And you are entering in 100 different fields you can enter. Whether it is the area of green energy, whether it's the area of gas hydrates, whether it's the area of oil shale, whether it is an area of this methane. So lot of options are still available. You can do your masters. After that, you can do PhD. And even after doing the PhD in this, you can work for the environment. You can work for the carbon sequestration. There are a lot of fields, and BTech in petroleum engineering is just a stepping stone. Even after that, you can work, because if you want to develop any software, computer engineer or the coders, they themselves cannot develop any software. They will be requiring your help. So for that also, it is required. We require people in the petroleum industry.
So there's a lot of fields in petroleum engineering, first of all. So can you just specify what all fields are there? Because when I joined petroleum industry, I joined as I thought I'll do a drilling work. But as I'm going through, as you are teaching us and many other professors, I'm now getting to know that this field is very vast, and that's a common question between us, between the students, between my batchmates. So can you specify what all fields are there in petroleum industry? Like first of all, drilling is there. That is why I
drilling.
opt for petroleum. Yeah.
With some experience, my dear friend, you join any company. The foremost requirement is the training. First of all, you will be trained as per the requirement of that company. For example, if you join, say, any production company, so you will be trained in production. If you join any drilling company, you will be trained how to use the BOPs, you will be trained on simulators. Similarly, if you join company which is involved in seismic data, so you will be trained in exploration, and different kind of roles are still available. There was at a time 10 years back, there was no petroleum engineer available in the world. People were asking and they were getting very heavy fat packets. Yes, now suddenly after Corona, things have changed. But I'm pretty sure oil rates, they are hovering around, say, from 75 to 85 US dollars, which is perfectly okay. And for a country like India, it is still little troublesome. So I don't see that in the near future the rates are going down. So if they are above 70 or 80 US dollars, the company will thrive.
So, as you talked about India, it is very expensive for India to import coal, and we are import crude. Sorry, and we are importing 80% of our crude from outside. We are importing our 80% of the crude from outside. So, as you know, that there are various blending going on in our in crude. So, how that will affect us petroleum industry? Our petroleum industry, is it good for us, and is it good for India as a country?
Definitely, very valid point. It is extremely good for a country like India because we are the net importers. And 80%. Suppose we are blending 20%. At present, we are blending around 5%. By 25, we want to blend, say, around 20% of ethanol in the crude oil, or say in petrol. Just by blending, we would be able to save minimum around 50,000 crores. So it is a huge amount. And we will not be saving in rupees, we will be saving in terms of foreign exchange. And that will be a great benefit to our exchequer. So blending, especially the ethanol blending, is an extremely good step taken by the government of India. And for a country which is deficient in crude oil production, these steps are required.
So, but let's talk about industry specific. Is it good for the industry?
Yes,
Because if we are blending the oil, so ultimately the crude or the oil which we require, the quantity is getting up, but we require less crude, so ultimately the prices of crude will go down. And so I think it is not so suitable
my
for
dear
industry.
friend, we are blending only petrol. We are not blending crude oil.
Oh,
We are blending only petrol for commercial purpose. But with the crude oil, you are also getting kerosene, you are getting ATF, you are getting lube oils, you are getting tar, which is required for making the roads. So it hardly makes any difference. Only thing is you are saving some foreign exchange. So for a country, yes, it is good, but for industry, it doesn't make much difference.
yeah. So it's ultimately the same. Like five.
Exactly the same, because crude oil is required for making different kind of other material, right from polyester to different chemicals, all sort of petrochemicals like first generation petrochemicals, second generation, third generation. For everything you require, the raw material is petroleum, that is crude oil. And
So we have talked about so much about what how crude is required, why crude is required. So, sir, what is your view on world without petroleum? Like, what if petroleum doesn't exist?
In today's scenario, I think at least I can't imagine the world without petroleum. You tell me, how you will survive? You cannot drive your vehicle, or you will say that you can use the electric vehicles. For that, India is working on a very fast speed, and we are generating a lot of infrastructure for that. But in other areas, except transportation, we require this material. We require green energy. Green energy we are getting in terms of gas also. So we require a lot of gas. And luckily, India is bound to get a lot of gas from eastern offshore, which ONGC is developing at a very fast speed. So by 2025, we are going to get a lot of gas. So I don't think that you can bring a lot of substitutes for petroleum, but you
Cannot replace petroleum.
replace.
Yeah. So, sir, as we have talked, so many, I guess, majority of the oil or the crude oil is produced by Bombay High. So, if today Bombay High stops production, okay, there is no crude coming from Bombay High. So, how India will suffer, and what India will do to overcome this?
We're talking about Bombay High. Bombay High field was developed in, say, started production in 1976. So already we have completed more than 45 years. Our peak production was around 10 lakh barrels per day. Now it is only 3 lakh barrels. So 70% production has already gone down. But what we are doing is we are developing small pools and trying to maintain the production. But along with that, we are getting good amount of gas, and the production of gas is definitely increasing from Bombay High, and which is used by the industry. The gas is very beneficial for this country, and as you know that we are having a HBJ pipeline, Hajra Bareilly Jagdishpur pipeline. During that pipeline, there are a lot of industries, and they are using gas. So, at this stage, because we are deficient, we cannot stop the production. Of course, the cost of the production is going up every day because we are working for a mature field. But production of gas is definitely increasing. As you are saying that if you stop the production, yes, if you will stop the production, you have to import more oil.
That will ultimately affect on our foreign exchange.
Exchange. Why we require? Question is why we require. We have to feed 140 crore people, and for that we require energy. Previously, 100% source was petroleum. Now, it will go down maybe 90, 80, 70, but your demand will be there, and whatever production you can get from this country, we'll have to take it.
So, sir, as India is producing our crude oil, you know, of course, that USA is even producing crude oil, and it's one of the biggest producer of crude oil. But at the same time, USA is not exporting or neither using its own oil to use or to develop itself. It's importing oil from Saudi and different other countries to develop its to fulfill its use. Okay, so and at the same time it is promoting EVs. So it is US is storing crude oil and importing. So it USA has a stock, a pile of crude oil. Okay, but at the same time it is promoting EV and other green energy. So what do you think? What is this contradiction? Because if we if the green energy will go down, if green energy will prosper, then ultimately the price of crude will go down, and the pile of crude USA has, its value will go down. So why US is doing this? What is this contradiction?
I don't think there is any contradiction in it. USA is a rich country, and crude oil is a very important commodity. Right now, they are developing a lot of technologies and selling it to Saudi Arabia. In return, they are getting lot of petroleum, or let us say lot of crude oil from Saudi Arabia. You are right that they are not using their own, because it is their own. Anytime when there is a scarcity, when they require, at the time of war, they can use it. It is a very, very important commodity. Yes, it's a very strategic decision, and they are right. For their own benefit, they are doing it.
So why doesn't Saudi stops giving its oil to US? Because
Saudi Arabia cannot produce anything until unless they get the technology.
So US is giving.
USA is capable of not only delivering the technology, they are finding every day they are getting new technologies. So for them, it is, and their contract must be like that. Because if you go to Saudi Arabia, you will find that most of the companies like Schlumberger, Halliburton, they are all from USA. But
So, sir, as you said, crude oil is very important commodity. So, sir, what are the parameters we have to be focused on characterization of crude oil?
there are different parameters for the characterization, but the most important are the density. If you know the density or the API, you get some idea about the kind of crude oil you are going to handle. The second parameter is the pour point, wax content, asphalting. If you understand these parameters, you can very well suggest the kind of crude oil which you are going to handle. So these parameters play a very important role. And as a petroleum engineer, when you are working in a field, it is very important for us to understand these parameters. Because in the field, sometimes you come across the wax deposition problems. Sometimes you come across the scales issues. Sometimes you come across the asphalting related issues. Until unless you know that what kind of oil you are handling, what kind of problems can come in future, you cannot develop your infrastructure also. So right from the day one, we must analyze our oil and study that oil in detail so that we can develop the infrastructure required in the future.
So, sir, as we are talking about future, so how long it will take India to completely shift to EV? And if India will shift to EV, what are the problems which our industry is going to face? What means petroleum industry is going to face?
At present, EVs are very expensive. So for a common man in India, it is really difficult. Yes, but in coming 5 to 10 years, when we will develop the infrastructure, that is the charging issues and highways, then definitely lot of transportation will be done by using the e-vehicles, especially the buses. But you can go up to say 20 to 30%, not more than that. 60 to 70% will still be requiring in coming 10 years, they will be using petrol and diesel.
So, our government's goal is to be completely carbon or net carbon zero emission by 2070. So, sir, ultimately we have to shift to EVs by 2070 or before that to get that carbon emission to net zero.
For that, you will be requiring, say, gas vehicle. You will be requiring EV vehicle. You can do with hydrogen also. Hydrogen also. But these technologies are in a very nascent stage. I should not say nascent stage, but they are developing. It will take some time, maybe 5 years or 10 years. Things are quite expensive today. For example, initially mobile was costing rupees 1 lakh. Now it's available in 5 to 10,000 rupees. When the cost of the vehicle will go down, I think then sudden change, yes, will take place. And maybe we can go for 50, 60 or 70%, but it will take some time.
Yeah. Okay. So, sir, as you know, when there's a war going on in this globe, petrol prices shot up. Okay, in Russia-Ukraine war, petrol prices, or I would say crude prices shot up. Okay, so sir, what's your view on this war, Russia-Ukraine war, or any other war which is happening in the globe? What's your view on that? And should we support humanity, or we should look upon our industry, because industry is ultimately benefiting from the war, because crude is required for the war, prices go up, jobs go up, so ultimately the industry is benefiting. But should we support humanity at that point, or should we look on our business?
Before this war, we were fighting another war, that's Corona war. The world was totally paralyzed and we were fighting a much bigger war. And suddenly, this Russia and Ukraine war started. Now, see the inflation. Why there is the inflation? The inflation is because of this war only. Who is suffering? Ukraine is suffering. Europeans are suffering. America is also suffering in terms of very high inflation. But a country like India, who doesn't want war, but India has got a very good relation with Russia. So we are getting the crude oil at a little cheaper rate than the international price.
Should we support humanity?
Of course, we must support humanity. That is the reason that our Prime Minister is all the time talking and requesting the President of USSR to stop this war. He has tried number of times and his goal is to stop the war. But there are some issues, there are some geopolitical reasons, there are other factors like USA and European countries, they have got their own interest. One thing. Second thing, whole Europe, especially UK, is suffering because of the gas issues. The prices have gone to the roof and UK is suffering like anything. But what about arms industry? After 10 years, yes, they are doing a brisk business. And a maximum amount of sale is coming from USA. So USA is supplying huge amount of weapons to Ukraine. So it is altogether a different ball game. And top countries of the world, they're fighting for their own existence.
Yeah, for their own power, show dominance. But sir, USA want this war to stop. They are striking down, and uh, they have applied many restrictions on Russia. They want this war to stop, and still, but at the other end, as they are the highest weapon suppliers. So at the other hand, they are supplying these weapons to Ukraine. So what's it contradiction again coming in? That they want this war to stop, and the other hand, they are also supplying weapons to Ukraine
They
to
don't
fight.
want the war to stop. They don't want. Otherwise, why they will supply?
Yeah.
They want that this should be escalated. They want this is the right time for them. They are not fighting themselves. Rather, Ukraine is fighting for them. See, usually they are involved, but in this war they are not
They-
involved. They are
Yeah,
only,
even with the treaty, they are
Yes.
saying that.
yes, but financially they are helping. Weapon-wise they are helping, and they are asking other European countries to help Ukraine.
To elongate this war, to get this war
Exactly.
as long as.
They want that to finish the economy of Russia. They want the Russia to suffer like anything. That is the reason they are prolonging this war. Because Putin has also a number of times has said that yes, we want to stop this war. But I think Russia is also not very keen to stop this war. They want to Mr. Putin wants to take it to its logical end. And that is the reason they are standing this way.
So recently, they applied European nation and USA. They applied a gas cap G7. In the G7 community, they applied a gas cap on Russia that they will not buy above this level. So, what's your view on that?
To whom they will not buy? On
From Russia or any other market, they'll not buy gas above $60 or $80. I'm not sure of
Because
that.
the prices of gas is already very, very high. And in the world, the maximum production is done in Russia. So Russia is supplying the gas, but it has stopped the gas supplying to even Germany. So Germany, UK, the prices have gone very, very high. But during this winter, they require gas and they are not getting the gas. That is the main reason. So Russia is not getting the price, but the others are not getting the gas. And gas is required.
Yeah, they require it more than
Yes, more than the Russia. Russia requires in terms of money.
money. Yeah, then they are supplying the gas to India or China to fulfill their war needs.
And what is happening is
Yeah.
now the Russia has started supplying huge amount of petroleum and petroleum products to
India.
India and China. And it is a huge market.
We are one of the India and China is even China is it's one of the biggest importers of petroleum products. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Nagar sir. It's been great talking to you, and I gained a lot of knowledge, and I'm sure our viewers will gain a lot of knowledge with this podcast. So thank you so much, sir, and I hope you will come again and give us more knowledge about different field and different industries. Thank you, sir, for joining.
Thank you, Shashant. Thank you.